Lesson 13, Day 13. Obvious intent. While statements which have a negative connotation are prohibited, this would not apply where the listener can be expected to understand that nothing derogatory was intended. Therefore, halakha permits making an ambiguous statement if 1. Nothing derogatory is intended, and 2. The unintended meaning of this statement is only mildly derogatory, and the statement is made in the presence of 3 people, or in the presence of the person being discussed. As an illustration, the early commentators offer the statement, "In that house, something is always cooking in the oven." This could mean that this family's door is always open to guests, or it can mean that the family is overindulgent. If the statement were to be made in the presence of 3, one can safely assume that this would eventually become known to the family of whom it was said. Such being the case, the listeners would assume that the speaker intended it as a compliment. It would also be permissible to make such a statement in the presence of the family of whom it is said, since it would be obvious to all that there was no derogatory intent. Many Sepharim state that Hashem does not want to associate with gossipers and rescue them from their troubles. Rabbi Shimon said, of everything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is forgiving, except Lashon Hara. It causes accusation in Shemayim toward the Jewish people. In the words of Zohar, this sin brings plague, sword, and murder into this world. Woe to those who awaken this evil force, who do not guard their tongues. They do not realize that the ways of Hashem are reflective of the ways on this world, both for good and for bad. Through evil talk, Satan is aroused to voice accusation against the entire world. A father's great love for his child can impel him to make allowances for the child's bad behavior. When a father is forced to rebuke his child, he does it lovingly, with abundant compassion, however, to the father, and report that they witnessed how the child quarreled with others over nothing, and that he embarrassed and ridiculed his peers. The father will have no alternative but to take strong measures to ensure this child mend his ways. Hashem loves the Jewish people with a deep, unfathomable love. As the words of the prophet, "Is Ephraim my most precious son, or a delightful child, that whenever I speak of him, I remember him more and more? Therefore my inner self yearns for him. I will surely take pity on him." Of course, Hashem is well aware of all that transpires both in public and in private. As it is written, "Can a man hide in the hidden places so that I will not see him?" says Hashem. Out of his great love for Israel, he is slow to anger and seeks to find merit for his nation. In his infinite wisdom, Hashem has decreed that his judgment of man reflect the intercessions and accusations of the heavenly angels. When the accuser, the Satan, comes before him to relate the sins of his people, then he feels compelled to respond. And it is those who speak Lashon Hara who cause the accuser to speak against the nation of Israel.